Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We are finishing up this Williams Aztec pinball machine. It looks like it's going to be a pretty fun game to play. We'll find out here shortly. We've been messing with it a little bit, kind of getting all of the final little touches done. So we had a flipper that was dragging. We've got it up out of the way where it's no longer dragging. You can see the drag mark from before. One of the pop bumpers wasn't working, got it working. All of the scoring seems to be working. We got the flipper piece in that we needed, the spinner piece in that we needed. It seems to be spinning pretty good. On this one, you know, it's called Aztec, so they have the little Aztec drawing there. And whenever it spins, you see both of them. Pretty cool. And we've got all the score reels clean, everything. You know, we've cleaned everything. Everything's working. Everything, all the scores are resetting. But it has one really common problem that these Williams games have, and I figured I would show you what that is and why that is doing it. So we're in game over. We're going to start a new game. Now, I don't know if you heard the cluck, 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 cluck. But that was this bonus resetting back down to 5,000, the bottom of the bonus. Okay, so here's the problem that this thing has. Boom. There's your problem. So at the end of the ball has landed in the outhole, and nothing happened. So this is very confusing to people whenever they're trying to fix these, because the machine must not know the ball's in the outhole, right? I mean, that's kind of what you would think. That switch must be screwed up. So if you mess with the ball, no matter what you do, it will not do anything. And the game is still playing, right? I don't think that was right. Don't. I think it skipped one. I think that was supposed to be 5,000. Anyway, like I said, we're still working on it. But the game is still working, actually. It just, the ball won't come back out. So the reason that it does this is it actually has to do with the bonus unit. And so I'm going to show you on the schematics what's supposed to happen and how we know that's what the problem is. So this is typical of Williams electromechanical machines of this era, which is the mid-70s to the late 70s. Which, you know, after 77, they were all solid state. But the electromechanical games, 75, 76, 77 for sure, but there may have been some earlier that had this same issue. So the way the thing works is when the ball lands in the outhole, the very first thing that happens is it counts the bonus. Okay? And this setup is on a lot of these Williams machines. I think Bally did it slightly differently, so they didn't have the same exact problem, but it's probably similar. So here is the outhole switch. So when the ball is in the outhole, right, you can see the line that the power travels. So this motor switch here, it says index C. That circle there is telling you that it's the score motor, right? So it is normally connected in its, you know, at home position where it is right now. That's why it's at home anytime that it's not turning, right? So that switch has to be connected, but if it is, power comes through here, goes through this zero position switch on the bonus unit, right? The outhole switch closes, and it turns on the bonus relay. When the bonus relay closes, it turns on the score motor. Now, did you see the ball, when it landed in the outhole, turn on the score motor? It did not turn on the score motor. As a matter of fact, it didn't do anything. And if you move the thing around and everything, nothing happens. It's as if nothing happened. So once the score motor would come on, it would start turning. You know, these are more score motor switches. It would start turning, and eventually it would close this switch. And if the double bonus relay is not pulled in, power would travel through here. The bonus relay would be on, and it would make the bonus unit reset one position. Did any of that happen? No, it did not. And so that's the whole way that the end of ball sequence works on these. Right? So none of this is happening. Now, if the double bonus relay was on, it would be down here, and then whenever the impulse, whenever the score motor turns, it would run through a switch on the impulse reel. Right? The bonus relay is closed. It would still reset the bonus unit. None of that is happening. So the ball is landing here. We're messing with this. This seems to be fine. And the bonus relay works because it resets at the beginning of the game. Remember where I was saying that clunk, clunk, clunk you're hearing is the bonus relay resetting. So this reset relay, whenever it pulls in, it makes this work. Right? Which means that this switch over here works too. That must work or it would never reset. It's also, oh, actually, you know what? That runs from something different. The bonus unit switch that opens at 0. Well, this switch here, yeah, okay. This switch here also makes the shooter switch work, and that works. So we know that this switch is fine, right? So that leaves us with the only switch that's really left that could be a problem is this bonus unit 0 position switch. So this thing is a problem. Basically, the bonus unit is supposed to go down below 5,000 points to the 0 position. When it does, so as it resets, eventually this will come down and close this switch, and then the power will come down through here. If the bonus relay is turned back off, it will turn on the outhole relay, which is what kicks the ball out. So the problem usually whenever this happens on any Williams game is this switch is misadjusted on the bonus unit. Now you may remember if you watched the previous videos, we worked on the bottom of the playfield, but I didn't show you working on the bonus unit. I did work on it, cleaned it all up and all of that, and messed with that switch, but I must not have it right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is the most finicky switch in one of these Williams late model EM games with bonus countdowns on it. Grand Prix has 2 bonus units on it, so it's even worse because there's 2 of these that can do this. And we've showed this over and over again on the channel. We've also showed sometimes the linkage is worn, and you need the whole linkage needs to be replaced, but they make brand new ones just in case, right? So I'm going to pop up the playfield, and we'll get a look at this switch and see if we can figure out why it is not throwing power through it. Basically, it says 0 position, but once you're off the 0 position, it should be connected here, just like it shows. This is drawn not in the 0 position, but it's drawn at the beginning of the game. So once the first ball shoots out and it's laying in the out lane, that's how it's drawn. So if you noticed at the beginning of the game, the 5,000 point is lit up on the bonus unit. So you get 5,000 points no matter what on this game. The 0 position is actually before that, so it steps up 1 position to start the ball. But anyway, this should be connected. So our problem is right here. This is not making good connection for whatever reason. All right, so here is the switch we're talking about. So you can see as this thing goes back around, this little bar is going to hit that blade and open that switch. But as soon as you get off of the 0 position, the switch closes. Now see how the switch is clearly closed. Right? So it's set up how it should be. So I just checked continuity, and guess what? It's fine. It's working just fine. I used a multimeter on it. Now watch when I press it. See how it moves and the smaller blade moves a little bit? That's adjusted perfectly. So that's not our problem. So I was saying, that's got to be it. Right? It's always it. Well, it ain't it this time. So you saw the little circuit in the schematics. It's very simple. So what else could it be? Well, it could be something with the outhole switch, but we were messing with it and it wouldn't make it work. So maybe the outhole switch is just dirty or something. I don't know, but it looks like whenever you moved it around, it would make it, you know, something. So I wonder if there's a problem with the. I wonder if anything is. Oh, that could be it. So look, when the ball landed, there is a wire that just happened to get right in the way. So the contacts can't touch because the wire won't allow them. So fix that one. So that's fixed now. Now what? I think they call that dressing. You know, where your wires, where your wires are. And so sometimes they get stuck in something. Somebody came in, it was a whole thing. But I got the wire moved out of the way. I also put, while I'm here, after they left, I put new coil stops on. We already had new plungers on. So I think we're going to be good on our flippers. They were already pretty freaking strong, even with the old worn out plungers or linkage. Not Paul, whatever they're called. Linkage, plunger. You know what I mean. Of course, we got everything done. So I guess I was fine on the bonus unit. I think it was that wire. So let's test play it and make sure. All right, folks, I think we've got it now. It was just the wire, but there's still a lot left to do. So it's working fine. The spinner gets stuck sometimes, though, which is bad. You don't want anything stuck on the playfield. It'll burn crap up. Whoop. Oh! Huh. See how it's stuck? Now look real close at the little pole thing. All right? Ooh. Boy, this is some of my greatest filming stuff. Do you see how it was stuck? But it looked like the little piece actually touches the side of the playfield. That's what's sticking it. So we've got to adjust the bottom of that just a little bit. All right, so thankfully I was able to move the bracket a little bit, and I got it to where now it never hits the side of the playfield. And no matter what you do, it will not get stuck. So it's going to be loud. So it always goes back. And you know, sometimes the ball comes back down this way, so you got to make sure that it can go this way. So it's all good. Okay, so next up, I've got to check all the scoring. And so basically what I do is I go through and I hit the switches. So like this is 10 points. If I hit that, that should turn to 30. And it did. I didn't hear a chime, though, but I think on this game maybe there is no chime on the 10 points. Oh, no, there we go. I guess it depends on how hard you hit it. So I just go through and I make sure that it all rolls over to the next score. So that when this goes from 9 to 0, this goes to 4. And then I check this one and make sure it rolls over. Make sure this one rolls over, make sure this one rolls over. And you got to do that on all 4 players just to make sure every single score reel is working right. So I'm going to do that next. All right, so I tested all of the scoring and everything scores very nicely on all 4 players. All of the score reels roll over and do their thing except for one thing. The 1,000-point reel, when it gets to 9, the next 1,000 points does not advance it to 10,000. But then I played the second player, and the same thing happened. Third player, same thing happened. Fourth player, the same thing happened, which is our clue that we need, right? So the way these are set up, the 10,000-point relay pulls in, and it has to have a way to get pulsed by the 1,000-point relay. So basically, depending on where you are on the player unit, player 1, 2, 3, or 4, whenever that corresponding 1,000-point drum unit gets to the 9th position, it closes a little switch so that the next time the 1,000-point relay hits, it sends 1,000 points to the 1,000-point relay, and then it also sends 1,000 points to the 10,000-point relay. But as long as you're not on position 9, that doesn't happen. So if all 4 of them are a problem, it could be something here, but this is just a hardwired, soldered on wire. You know, it could be a bad connection here on this little thing on the player unit. But more than likely, it's probably this switch on the 1,000-point relay. If that switch wasn't connecting right, no matter what position, first player, second player, third player, or fourth player was supposed to get the extra 10,000 points, none of them would if that switch is screwed up. So that's the one that I think it is. So it's either going to be that switch, or it's going to be a bad connection on that position or that position of the player unit. I cleaned that thoroughly, though, so it shouldn't be that, but it could be. Yeah, there we go. Also, if it was this, no, I think on this one, the player unit just moves 4 positions back and forth. I think it's got to be this switch, but we'll see. So I'm going to go look at the 1,000-point relay for a red and yellow wire that connects to a red and orange wire somewhere on the 1,000-point relay. So this is the 1,000-point relay. The red and yellow wire and the red and orange wire are not this switch, but the one behind it. It's kind of hard to see. You see that switch back there in the back? If you look, that's gapped a little bit farther. You're not going to be able to see it because of these freaking lights. But that switch in the back there. Okay, this is going to be loud. It's hard to see, but I just can't get any light in there. These freaking LEDs. It's the LED's fault. Maybe if I hold both with one hand. Huh? What do you think? Boy, I'm ambidextrous. Okay, now if I zoom in. Oh, hell, we might get it. Look at that back switch. The one right there in the middle, all the way in the back. See how it's not touching? The small blade is not moving. That one way back there, not adjusted right. Missed that one. All right, so that has fixed that problem, but we have another crazy problem. This 1,000 reel isn't quite smooth enough, so it doesn't always score. So we've got to, I've got to work on that a little bit. So we should go to 96.84. And then now we should go to 101.84. That's working all right now, but that 1,000 one hangs a little bit, so I still got to work on that. But here's our problem. When the ball ends, it goes to player 2, right? Okay, player 2 ends, it goes to player 3. All right. Player 3 ends, it goes to player 4. All right. Player 4 ends, and it goes to player 1. All right, so we were on player 1, ball 4, but watch what happens now. Watch it not do it now that I'm showing it. Okay, so ball ends on player 1. It stayed on player 1, but consistently, watch this. The second time around, it goes to player 2. It does it over and over and over again. So when you play a multiplayer game, player 1 gets an extra ball every time. So it's player 1, and then player 1, then player 2, player 3, player 4, then player 1, and player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. Player 1, and then again player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, player 1, and then once again it's player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, right? And it does it consistently. How is that even possible? But yet it is. So this is the kind of crap I got to figure out on these games. They have little gremlins in them. There's no way it ought to be doing that, but yet it is. What in the world? And I got to tell you, this crap where it steps from player 1 to player 2, that's some of the most complex crap in the whole game. So we're down to the dirt now. This is the nitty gritty. This is the crap that's hard to figure out, but we're gonna get it. All right, so this is really complex, but it has nothing to do with the ball count unit because it all actually works fine. This doesn't have to do with going from ball 3 to ball 4 or anything like that. It's from player 1 to player 2, but only once, and then the second time it works. But then once it gets back to player 1 again, it doesn't work again until the next time. So this is really confusing, but this is how this actually works. When the outhole relay fires, so whenever it goes over to here, right? That's basically whenever the bonus is done counting down, the bonus unit turns on the outhole relay. That switch closes, and that is the outhole relay is what ultimately kicks the ball back out. Okay? If the extra ball relay has not been pulled in, so if you're not supposed to get an extra ball, and I've been watching that, I'm not getting an extra ball, I'm just getting, 400 points and then dropping the ball back in the out hole. So it's not or you get at least 5,000 points, but I am not getting an extra ball. The light is not on, so that shouldn't be an issue. And it shouldn't have anything to do with it only does it on player 1 and only once. That wouldn't be it. Also, the out hole relay, it shouldn't really be doing it only on player 1, only one time. Then the next time it works fine, and consistently, over and over and over again. I've tried it. I've seen it do it 10 times. Okay? The ball index relay. So what that is if you score any points at all, the ball index relay turns on. I don't think it can have anything to do with that because, again, there'd be no pattern like that. It would just be randomly sticking or freezing, and you'd see it do it on player 3 or something. So the ball index relay, basically, if you don't get any points, when the ball lands in the out hole, it will not step up the player unit. You won't lose the ball, right? Because you didn't get any points, so they just let you shoot again. People have pointed out that the reason for that is because sometimes it doesn't kick the ball all the way to the shooter lane. So if the ball falls back down the ramp into the out hole, if you didn't score any points, it'll shoot it again and not charge you a ball. Okay, so I don't think it's those. Okay, then you get over here to it's a score reel. The score motor. So as that turns, that switch will hit. Well, there's no reason that would only hit that would only not hit whenever the first player has just it's back to the first player. Whatever, right? And then this is an interesting one. You get to the player reset relay. So you can see how it's normally over here if the player reset relay is not turned on. So the power goes through here, and does the player unit, makes the player unit step up. If the player reset relay were to pull in, instead of making the player unit step up, it would make the player unit reset back to the first player. So what turns on the player reset relay? Well, it's right here below it, and what turns it on is the ball count unit end of stroke switch. So when the ball count unit goes up to the next ball, from ball 2 to ball 3, it hits a switch on the end of it as it actually does that. And when that switch goes up, it turns on the player reset relay. The player reset relay then holds itself on until the score motor gets back to the home position. So that is the home position. It will be over here. And the reason that it does that is so that the player reset relay is still held in while the score motor is turning around and doing its thing and ultimately kicking the ball out and resetting the player unit, right? So we're up here. So it's the end of ball 2, no matter how many players you have. First player, second player, whatever. It's the end of ball 2. That should go up to here, which will make the player unit reset back to player 1. And they do it like that so that if you've got a 1-player, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player game, whenever the other math determines that the ball count unit should step up to the next ball, it resets it back to player 1. So they have this convoluted thing here, the coin unit and the player unit, that decides when the ball count should step up. All of that is working fine. We're going up to ball 2, ball 3, right when we should, as it switches from the 4th player to the 1st player. But I'm thinking that it probably does have something to do with this switch, or the player reset relay. That's either sticking on or something, because the only time that it would actually come into play is after it has gone back to player 1, which is when we're having the problem. But it would, if it was this stuck, it would have to be stuck the entire time that you play that your player 1 is playing their ball. Because at the end of that, for whatever reason, this must still be up here, or it's told to go up here again, and it resets the unit again. Now, the other problem that we could have is maybe when the player unit goes to step up, there's some kind of physical reason that the player unit can't get from the 1st position to the 2nd position very easy. So it has to do it twice to make it ratchet up to that. So I would say that's probably the most... It's either going to be that, some kind of physical thing, or it's going to be something with its player reset relay. Now, the question is, how in the world do you figure that out? You just got to get creative. So I'm going to pop up the play field, set the ball count unit back to ball 1 or something, and then just try it and keep messing with it until I spot if this is hanging on or this doesn't step up but tries to, or what the deal is, right? These are both on the player unit, the step-up coil and the reset coil. So if you watch it and just see, is the reset coil firing extra? Like after ball 2 of player 1, does the reset coil fire again? It shouldn't. It should stay off, and the step-up unit coil should fire. If they both fire, it will reset, and then you'll be player 1 again. So that could be what's going on. But so this kind of crap just makes you pull your hair out trying to figure it out. All right, I think I figured out the problem. So this is the player unit. So the way it works is this one resets it. And when it does, just because of the way it's designed, this little gimmick here holds the pawl out away from the gear there. So it's not touching it. It's not in the right spot. So when this pulls in, this is the player step-up one. So there must be some kind of problem that whenever it first does it, because it's sticking out like that, it doesn't engage right. Because you remember, these do this really fast. And then click. That's what it should do to turn to player 2. See that light bulb right there being on? That's player 2. That's player 1. That's how I've been seeing it. So right now I have it on a 2-player game and it's doing the same thing. So once you're at player 2, you don't have that problem because the thing is engaged. So player 3, player 4. Notice the gear is smooth because there is no player 5. Okay, so the difference here is the very first time it resets, these are not engaged. Okay, so I think what's going on is there's too much booty in the pants. Like, it's got to do too much, right? So, like, this has to pull in that very first time, make all this fall back in place, and then lift it. So it's doing it so quick, I don't think that stuff is falling back in the right spot. So there's something going, it's just not quite right, right? There's another one. Probably, what did I say earlier? But if you look, here's our problem. That coil will just move around because there's no sleeve in there. Somebody has removed the sleeve. That ain't right. Come on, people. See, that one's got a sleeve. So see how it holds this better? So I need to take out a part, put a new sleeve in it, and that might make it work. It's just something that's not quite right on it. You know, there's just too much slop in it, so it probably can't make it march like it's supposed to. All right, folks, I put a new sleeve in there. That's how it's supposed to be. I don't know what they were thinking. And that has fixed it. Got lucky with that one. Okay, so we are on a 2-player game. We're on ball 4. Playing itself. So we have now went back to ball 5 and it reset the player unit, right? So we are on the first ball, or the 5th ball of player 1. Notice how after it reset it, the things are not engaged. But now, since there's no slop in that coil, it's going to properly step up at the end of this ball instead of having to do it twice. So if it works right, it should go to player 2, ball 5. Smooth as silk, baby. Okay, so that seems to have fixed that. One other thing I've noticed, sometimes when you hit the 10 point, it doesn't make a noise, like a bell doesn't ring. Let me see if I can do it quick enough. Hit it, and it doesn't ring. Like that time. If you hit it good, it rings. Okay, so the reason for that is because the 10-point relay isn't locking on like it's supposed to. So I'll show you that in the schematics. This is the simplest relay, point relay, because there's not much to it. So the only way you score 10 points is you hit the stand-up switches or the kicker switches, which are down on the slingshots, you know, like as they're called now. So there's just a couple switches that will actually make that happen. So what happens is if you hit that switch I was hitting on the top, it turns on the 10-point relay. But you're only hitting it for a second, like a split second, right? The 10-point relay in turn turns on the score reel to make you actually score the 10 points, and it also turns on the chime. So it kicks the coil on the chime, right? So if you do it quick enough, it doesn't have time to send the chime thing all the way up. Or it might not have time to turn the 10-point reel all the way, right? So the way they make it where you definitely get your 10 points is as soon as that turns on, because you hit that switch, there is a switch on itself that closes. That switch closes until one of these 4 switches opens, and you can see that they are all the 10-point drum unit end of stroke switch. So basically, whenever the 10-point drum unit pulls in, the score reel, it opens up a switch. So if one of those switches is broken, for instance, then there will never be power here. So whenever the 10-point relay pulls in, it will never hold itself on. So it will only stay on as long as you actually hit the switch. So that makes it where sometimes you don't get points. You know, you hit it too quick and you don't get your 10 points, or you don't hear the chime. So it could be that one of these is broken. I looked at them all whenever I went through. It could be that one is not adjusted right to where it's not closed enough that electricity can go through it, or it's dirty so the electricity is not going through it. So there's these on the 10-point relay, 10-point reels, the 100-point reels, the 1,000-point reels, and the 10,000-point reels. This game has 4 different point relays. So it's just a way of them ensuring that you get your points and you get that doom that you want. So I'm going to mess with it a little bit, see if I can get that a little better. All right, so I went through and replaced all the bulbs. I took the flashers that were all in the weird spots and I put them over there. Typically, they would be behind the name of the game, right? Now, the reason the Backglass looks so ugly is because it's filthy. Something has dripped down inside of it. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a Coke. It could have been at some point there was a drink up here on the top and it somehow spilled or something. I don't know. But I'm going to carefully wipe that off and try not to remove any of this paint. The thing is in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of damage crackling there to the behind part of the name, so I'm going to go careful on that. And then it's been touched up in a couple spots where somebody has painted it. Right there and right there. I'm going to leave that alone. The part where the light, the paint shines through around the score reels, where the light shines through, is nearly impossible to paint back to where you can't notice it. So if I spent a couple of hours trying to repaint that, I wouldn't get it any better looking than it is now. But I'm going to carefully clean it up and then put it back in, and that should at least get us looking presentable on the Backglass. So that's next. I forgot to mention these dummy reels. They originally had a sticker on them. See it? And then the things fall off. And they've done this on like every Williams game. They just fall off. But fortunately, you can just reprint those. So I'm going to print some new ones and stick them on there. And that will make that all look where you won't even be able to tell. So that basically is just always a 0. They call it a dummy reel. It's just a fake reel, just to make the score 10 points longer. Look, people, I don't know. I would have never done it. If it was me, this would be your score. But whatever. It's cool. I mean, it looks good. These had more reels than any of the other games. 6 freaking reels, it appears, from the front, but one of them's fake. But that's just what they chose to do. All right, folks, so we're about there. It cleaned up nice. Got the little fake score reel things in there. Now, those are white paper, but you don't really see it as much because the lights are yellow, so they're shining you know, yellow light down on that white paper. So it looks about right. That one might be a little too low. Right? It looks about the same. So it all cleaned up and looks pretty good, with the exception of where they tried to touch up the paint at some point. If your score reel windows are screwed up, just leave them. You can't make it look better. Think about it. What looks better, that or that? Yeah, it looks... The part that's translucent that light can shine through, unless it's just really screwed up, you're better off just leaving it. Yeah, so look at this one. See how that's just cracked a little bit? What looks better, that or that? You know? Just leave a little wear on it. But of course we do touch them up if we think we can improve it, make it look better. So if there's a big area missing, we'll touch it up. But this thing looks pretty good the way it is. And of course it's the typical cool looking backglass from the 70s. Very well laid out, very well drawn. Very cool. All right, so I need to play it a little bit. What else do we need to do? Did I screw around and get this thing ready? What in the world? I don't know if I can think of anything else I need to do. I guess we need to play it a little bit. All right, folks, we're going to play it for a few minutes. I don't enjoy playing them on camera anymore because all of the comments are always about how people don't like the antique. Like, it drives me crazy. So, just my personal... What I like about these machines is that they're old, right? So people compare these to modern machines, and it's just... I don't even understand what the hell they're talking about. So I'm to the point, I don't like... I just don't like people saying, I don't like the flipper. It's like they can't... They're missing the forest for all the damn trees. It's just... I have a big disconnect between the average viewer. But, I mean, I get it. They're watching it because they like to play pinball. Right? I'm not working on these necessarily because I like to play pinball. I'm working on them because I like antiques. Right? I like old things. To me, it's amazing that the thing... I'm putting the back door on. To me, it's amazing that the thing is still working. And, you know, it was built in America, and you can work on it a little bit, and it comes right back, and it's got all of the history and everything, and like freaking 50,000 people touched this thing, and little kids ran up and played it, and to me, that's cool. The ooh hit the ball. I don't, you know, that doesn't really do it for me. So I think I've just got a big disconnect from a lot of the viewers because of that. I like pinball, obviously, but people take it so damn seriously, and I don't like the critical nature of people that consider themselves pinball fans. They never talk about what they like about the machine. They just talk about what they don't like about the machine. So they'll say, you know, generally, and I imagine them with a glass of wine when they say this, generally speaking, I prefer my spinner to be on the right, and we all know that eject hole is just a gimmick. You know, it's this type of crap. So I'm the opposite of that. So it seems like on these gameplay videos, that's when I get most of that kind of comments. So I'm just going to stop doing as much of them, right? I mean, I enjoy playing them here myself, but I don't enjoy the comments on the you know, some of the comments will be critical of me. Oh, you're not that good of a player. I don't really mind them as much because I'm not, you know. But that's not the point, you know. It's such a cool looking game. I really like it. With the Aztec, the bulbs blinking on and off and everything, and just the, you know, the kind of little bit dated artwork. It just looks cool. I like it. But here's the thing. If you go back and watch all of my videos, I like all of them. So, you know, people say I can't play. Well, I enjoy playing them, so who the hell's winning there? I put a little beer seal on the back glass so that it doesn't rattle. Oh, straight down the middle. All right, I got 188,000 points. I see a couple little things that I think maybe I could improve on, but it's playing pretty good. Let's read the instructions. When credit light is lit, press the credit button and wait for the machine to reset before pressing the credit button for additional players. Each player shoots one ball at a time, as indicated on the back glass. Tilt penalty is the ball in play. It does not disqualify the player. Hitting target Z or T, those are the top targets up there. Hitting target Z or T lights double bonus lane. Lanes. Double bonus lanes. Oh, at the top. Yes. Yes. Or is it? I think. When lit, lights double bonus lanes. When lit, lights double bonus. Collect bonus when ball leaves the playfield. Hitting targets A, E, and C, which are the bottom ones, and the top roll through, the middle one. Or A, Z, and T, so that's the top roll through one and the top two in the middle. Lights extra ball target, that's the middle target. When lit, target hit scores one extra ball. It basically lights the same player shoots again. Maximum one extra ball per ball in play. Hitting targets AEC or AZT and the bonus to 50,000. Oh, if you max out the bonus. Lights the special lane. Special lane is the out lanes. Special scores, it says one extra ball, but I set it where it scores a free game. Well, these flippers are strong as crap after you replace the plungers and the coil stops. They're DC by this point, so they're DC flippers. I think the pop bumpers are DC as well. That little top right eject thing is like a little point shot. All you got to do is make it up there and you make all kinds of points. That's a cool shot. I like it. Oh no, right down the middle. The bonus works a lot better when the outhole doesn't have the wire stuck in the switch. Whoa, whoa, oh, it's going fast. I got 111,000 that time. One more game. Oh, I'm out of credits. That's right. He had me put it on quarters. I'm out of credits, people, but I can cheat. Oh, added a couple credits with the cheat. The score reels are resetting nicely. Everything seems to be scoring nicely. You know, these things Christine themselves. If you play them a little bit, they get better as time goes on. If you keep them clean and fix anything, you know, obvious. Oh. Very cool shot. I like how once you just get up there, it's going in. Oh, I dropped it. I like how once you get up there, it's just going in, and then you get all of the points. You get 5,000 or 10,000 for each lit letter. There we go. There's our A. We needed that. You got our spinner lit. Now maybe we can spin it. Oh, no. All right. Well, that's good enough for the video. I'll play it some more after I turn it off and people can't complain. All right. So I got 135,000. Pretty good for me. What did I get the first time? 188. It all runs together. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I'm going to play it a little more. We're going to leave it here at the shop and let customers play it when they come in. The customers never seem to complain. They just walk up and play it and enjoy it. They don't bitch about a light being out. Weird. Very interesting. You know, that just... Some people actually remember how to have fun whenever you meet them in person. So anyway, we'll leave it here at the shop and leave it turned on for a while. Let people play it a little bit just to make sure all the kinks are out of it. And I see a couple little things I can adjust on it. I'm sure you did too. So I'll adjust those, see what I can do to make it play a little better even. It's already playing great in my opinion. But we'll see if we can tighten it up even a little bit more, and that'll be that. So I hope you enjoyed it. This is Williams Aztec. I give it a 10. This game's a damn 10 out of a 10. Deal with it. So I love it. I hate reviews. Reviews are freaking horrible. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to take away, you know, the color here. That's not traditional. I'm going to take away about 1/10 of a point. 7.8. What the hell? All right, people, I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And check out my brother, Donnie. If you don't know about him, there's a link down below. My brother has his own channel here on YouTube. And I work on old arcade games, pinball machines, and jukeboxes with my brother, Joey. Our other brother, Donnie, works on old buildings, old vehicles, things like that. So I'm over there with him on his channel a lot. I will see you over there, and I will see you back here in about 2 days with a completely new video. Hope you enjoyed it.